Alright, I look kind of better. Half my face is just gonna be dark. It's what it's like being mixed, I guess. But, welcome back to day 15, actually, this time. I know I said day 15 last time, but that was day 14. I was lying to you. And I went to a game in this one, too. You're not gonna see any of the footage, unless you, like, follow me on Instagram, in which case you would see on my story, but I went to Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and that was one of the first games of the day, and it was the most useless game. So let's talk about that. That game ended 2-0 to Cote d'Ivoire, and before going into it, they knew they needed to get a point. They needed to secure second. Ecuador could not top them in the group unless they lost, and if they lost, Curacao would have qualified as third, and they would have been eliminated. Given the result of the other game. So going into it, they knew that, and they did what they needed to do. 2 goals, both from Nicola Pepe, well taken goals. And it was just all around kind of a nothing game. Curacao really should have been going for it more than they did. I think it was a lot more of a happy to be here, happy to take a point off of Ecuador, or 2 points off of Ecuador, but yeah, they were kind of nothing, kind of bad. There were moments, but they just weren't really going for it. Ivory scored early, and were just very relaxed after that. Didn't have to put too much into it, didn't put too much into it. Got to sub out some of their attacking players. And yeah, just all around good game for them to qualify for the knockout rounds for the first time in their history. And that's very impressive. And that was, a very cool thing to see in person. And now going on to the other game, Ecuador Germany, the one that I didn't really get to see except for the highlights of the goals in the stadium, but Ecuador won. Neuer did not look good in this one from what I'd seen. That second goal in particular, should have done better. He's not really looked too good the entirety of the World Cup. And so, it was, it's kind of a sad thing to see, but it was interesting, But Ecuador, for all we were saying about their first 2 games about how poor they looked, attacking wise, they couldn't buy a goal. They scored 2, overcome an early Leroy Sané goal, and beat Germany in a game that doesn't really matter for Germany, but they would have liked to have won. And Ecuador wins that one and moves on to probably face, I forget what their competition is, but they won. So they've made it as one of the 8 best third place teams with 4 points. Next set of games was Group F. Both Japan and the Netherlands both winning. Let's start with the Netherlands first. Simple game. Oh wait, Japan did not win. That's a lie. Simple game for Netherlands though. Very straightforward. They handled business against Tunisia, who have not been putting up a fight at all this World Cup, and it has to go down as one of the worst World Cup performances in history. I mean, like, conceding 5 goals your first game, 4 goals your second game, and 3 goals your third game. Yeah, you're improving, but not anywhere by much. Scoring only 2 measly goals yourself, and not putting up a fight at all, being eliminated very early. Big letdown. And they do really well to get to the World Cup, but once they're here, they've not been performing in recent history well in any World Cup. So they need to look to change that. But yeah, Netherlands, fair play to them. They got their win. They qualify. They top the group. Easier game, quote unquote, against Morocco. Still tough competition, and I think that will be a good matchup. We'll see what that brings, but fair play to them for getting the job done, scoring 3 goals, and ultimately securing top of the group. Japan got the job done, kind of. This was the good result for everybody. They needed a point. Sweden needed a point. They would have needed a lot of goals in order to overturn the goal difference and be top of the group. So they just qualified in second with a point. They scored first, scored a good goal. Anthony Elanga's equalizer for Sweden was very good as well. He's been very good for them this tournament, much better than he has been for Newcastle all year, and that's pretty good for him. Pretty good to see. I guess he fits the system a lot better here. And yeah, that was just a very even game against two even teams, and Japan did well to stay undefeated and head to the knockout stage where they will face Brazil, and that's gonna be a tough game for them. It's gonna be a really tough game for them. But let's see what they do in that one. I think. And Sweden, they qualified one of the best third place teams on 4 points as well. Um, their goal difference being at 0 did not come back to bite them. They're a 5-1 loss. So, it's good to see that they qualified, and they will be facing a first place team, and we'll see what that looks like in the future. I believe it would be. I forget. I'll look into it after and talk about it in the next video, I think. Or, because I believe it's the next video, so I believe it's not Spain, I don't think. I think it would be like Belgium's group or France. France's group. Those groups. I'm just naming the top 1 teams, but now I think we'll top the group. So as of right now, it would be Egypt or France or something like that. Next games, last games of the day is the U.S.-Turkey, and Turkey with no pressure turned into prime 2002 Brazil, I guess. Arda Güler picking up a goal, an equalizer. They conceded very early on. Trusty, against the U.S. And the U.S. played a rotated team here, giving other people an opportunity to play at the World Cup, giving their starters a rest, bringing in Pulisic for towards the end of the game for injury purposes. And Turkey went 2-1 up going into halftime, and that was good for them to have be winning and perform well. And then the U.S. equalized later, early into the half, and really had control over most of the half until they just let it go and conceded a last-minute winner for Turkey. And outside of those really poor moments where they conceded the goals, the U.S. looked pretty solid. Certainly better in that second half than they did in the first half. I have to say, players like Weah did not look like they were up to the speed of the World Cup. They did not look like they were up to the task. But, Pulisic coming back in looked very sharp, looked very good. And it was very good for the U.S., who know they're playing Bosnia in San Francisco. They're going to be looking to perform well, and I think they will. I don't think this game is going to be a letdown in any sense. It was really just icing on a cake for both teams. And Turkey, got their win before leaving. Didn't make it completely embarrassing, but still pretty bad from them. In the other game, Paraguay-Australia, this is where the tournament format makes this game much more boring. In a normal tournament format, all of these teams would be... Both of these teams would be playing for the win, as a draw wouldn't really help one of them, but both of these teams could qualify on 4 points, and both teams did qualify on 4 points. They decided to play a 0-0. I don't think they decided to play that. I think just it was set up that both teams did not want to lose more than they wanted to win, and that's what happened. Neither team lost. Both are most likely through. Australia in second place in the group, which is a huge accomplishment for them, as that wasn't super expected of them. But they go through, and they play on July 3rd in Dallas, and they await second place of Belgium's group. So now, talking about the knockouts a little bit more, because this is more of a picture. Ivory Coast will be playing second of either France or Norway, whoever wins that game that's coming up shortly. And that's gonna be a fun matchup if it's Norway. It's gonna be a tough game if it's France. But they've already beaten France in the preseason, in the pre-tournament friendly, and Norway, I think they can match up well against if they are able to. This is a very tough thing. Contain Erling Haaland. So they're going to be looking for that game, and they're going to be, just happy that where they are and trying to progress even further. And I think they have a real shot. Um, Netherlands play Morocco, which is technically the easier of the two teams that were able to face, and that's a tough game. It's gonna be very defensive from Morocco and very defensive from Netherlands as well, because both of them have threats going forward. Netherlands won't really get the freedom which they had in the previous games. I know the first game they drew against Japan, and that's kind of a similar benchmark, I think, where you're playing a team who will, once you score, they're not going to let that get them down, and they will find an equalizer again and again. Especially watching Morocco's performance versus Haiti. So that will be a very fun game. And on the other hand, we have Brazil, Japan, and let's not doubt Japan just because they're playing Brazil. They've done well against them in the past, I believe, and could pull out a result if they really do try. But I think this Brazil team, this is the first real test where they need to see, are they the real deal? Are they an actual competitor? Or are they still in this territory where they're good enough to qualify for the World Cup and get out of their group because they're Brazil just off of name, but they're not good enough to really show up when it matters. If they show up against Japan, there could be some real fire beneath this Brazil team, and they'll be really tough to beat, especially with Vinny Jr. in the form he is now. So yeah, that's my take on that. Germany, still don't know who they're playing yet. They're playing a third place team. Ecuador, still don't know who they're playing yet, technically, I believe. But I know that it could be a tough team. I think right now it's looking like it's going to be England, which will be really tough for both teams, especially because England just faced a team that is defensive minded in Ghana and struggled. This is a better defensive team. Now, can they continue on with the goals that they have and find more goals in them to progress further? I don't know. We'll see. It'll be a very interesting matchup. But yeah, that's day 15, and I will be back to talk about day 16. It might be a couple of days, lads. Very busy, but I'll see if I can get that to you tomorrow morning, and then if so, day 17 will take a little bit, but you might also get a nice little surprise, a little vlog of the match day. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.